see by the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular amongst birds singing out, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome to Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show. Presented by the Barndominium Company and Resto Pros of the Midlands. Part of the Chief Sports Network. Go Gamecocks!
He'll be fire on the mountain.
That's a win! Ball is way out of here.
5 consecutive home runs for Carolina.
It is good. It's on.
He's in. Touchdown. Ends with a throw to the plate.
He's going to score. It's a walk-off.
Touchdown, South Carolina!
All right, greetings and good morning. Welcome aboard and welcome home. Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show built by the Barndo Co. and presented by our friends at Resto Pros, who are always there when you need them, unless you're Arkansas. Resto Pros of the Midlands, Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. They'll clean up the mess so you don't have to. The Barndominium Company will build your dream home, and they are awesome. I was just talking to Alicia this morning from the Barndo Co. She's amazing. And so are they. And you can build one of those here in the Carolinas if you've got some property in the Palmetto State or in the Tar Heel State, and you'd like to, do something different, not do more of the same. Do something a little bit different, but it's perfect. A hurricane comes through, it's not going to fall down. It's going to be open and airy and beautiful. Welcome all your guests while you're watching college football. That's where you want to go. The BarndoCo.com. I know it's been like we've kind of joked with people for a few weeks. Yeah, I think we're gonna have Coach Holbrook this week. Oh, he's got visits, or they're playing. He is a head baseball coach. They do have things to do, but we got him today. The check finally cleared, and Chad Holbrook is joining us at least for the first hour. Steve Taneyhill will be here in the second hour. We'll talk some football with him. There's a wing competition at his bar / restaurant in Columbia this weekend, so we'll see how many of those Steve can put down. Coach, it's good to see you, man. How are you?
It's been a long time, Jamie. Thanks for having me on. I hope now that the season's over and recruiting's coming down, hope I can come on and be a regular guest from time to time as we get closer to football season.
I know. As a reminder, one of the great programs out there is a part of our network. It's on the Chief Sports app and it's on the Chief Sports YouTube page as well. It is Chin Music. It's hosted by Chad Holbrook and Scotty Fryer and Colin Morris, and they do an awesome job. They have conversations you don't hear anywhere else. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, you should. If you've got a long road trip, like maybe you're traveling somewhere for the 4th of July week, or you are going somewhere now this weekend, whenever, and you're like, man, what am I going to listen to the whole time? I'm tired of these ITG guys. We got you. That's totally covered. If you've never listened to all the conversations on Chin Music, it'll get you there, and you'll actually kind of be a little frustrated that you got there because you'll want to finish whatever episode that you're on. So go make sure you give that a listen if you haven't done so. Coach, look, we can't go any further. You want, like, anybody that questions whether the baseball gods exist, I've got news for you. They absolutely exist. They are there. And I don't know what Arkansas did to them, but they are still in the punishment phase of their relationship with the baseball gods. We know what happened in 2018. And then last night, I mean, I know you were watching the game. Like, how many times did you put your hand on your head in the last 2 innings going, oh, my God, what are we doing here? Dave Van Horn,
Right.
and so, like I was texting with Blake Cooper last night, and he was like, it looks like you can't stick a pin in these guys' asses right now. And I'm like, I know, but that's not coming from Dave Van Horn. That's not Dave Van Horn. I don't know what it is, man, but LSU walks it off 6-5 in the 9th over the Hogs, and they go home.
Well, the game was over. The ball was hit to their best player, and for some reason, he decided to throw the ball at third base. That one.
That was
Left
crazy.
left field is hard to play in Omaha, especially on low line drives, because if they get in the sight line of those lights, it's very difficult. You either want it high or you want it under the lights. I guarantee you, having been out there, that ball was right in the lights with topspin. So
yeah.
I feel for that kid. But the game was in their best player's hands, and he threw it to third base.
Kyle Pete, or was it KP or was it Chris Burke? I'm pretty sure it was KP who made a great point in the game last night after that happened. The ball hit to Aloy that you're talking about. And that was tailor-made. I mean, that was tailor-made. That's what you're brought into the game to induce a ground ball. And it was tailor-made to a first-round draft pick. And he made a great point, maybe a batter later. He said, any other time of the year, that kid's turning a double play on that. Any other game of the season. Let's see if we can get it. Is there a guarantee that you're going to turn a double play? Well, of course not. You could airmail one or the kid could beat it out. But by the looks of the replays, Stephen Milam was nowhere near. He wasn't going to beat it if you had two good throws. And did he get caught in the moment? Did he get caught in the score? Like, did he think it was, I don't know what he thought was going on there.
I'm gonna flip this around, and this will put a smile on your face, and it'll put a smile on all our listeners' face. Doesn't it make you appreciate Peter Mooney and Scott Wingo? I mean, so when the game was on the line, those kids, did they step up or what? And it's I think what happened to that kid, and I'm not sure, but as the ground ball was hit, the base runner running to third got in his vision, and it became an automatic reflex, or automatic nervous reflex. It was it's inexplainable, man. The baseball will do that to you. It will rip your heart out, or it will put you on top of the mountain, as we all know.
Yeah.
And man, as a coach, they've lost one national championship and the opportunity to play for another one on two heartbreaking plays. And as Gamecock fans, and I'm not saying our kids are better, I'm not saying that at all, but the 2018 play, Scott Wingo makes that play with his eyes closed. We've seen him do it. And that play yesterday, Peter Mooney would have had fun turning that double play. And I know that's, ifs, ands, and buts for candy and nuts, but we saw him do it on the biggest stage. Sometimes the things happen in our game that defies explanation. And the play in left field last night, I can explain that can happen. I don't understand why that young man threw the ball to third base, and I hate it for him. I'm sure he's a great kid. I saw where he didn't show up in the press conference last night, and so obviously his heart was ripped out. But it's what this game will do to you. I mean, it's baseball.
Well, I will say one thing about the pressure. The Gecko kid who was in there, and I think coming into the year, Coach, that he was a guy who was considered potentially their Friday night dude. Well, he's pitched on Friday nights for him before. When I was watching, and he was running out of gas. He threw 90 pitches like 3 days ago. But I will say this. One of the things that like when y'all were in the World Series, those 3 straight seasons, when the Gamecocks were there in 02, 03, 04 under Coach Tanner and that whole crowd, you could never, if you didn't know the score and the camera hit the faces of any of the players, you never knew whether they were winning, whether they were losing, whether they were winning by a large margin, losing by a large margin. Like it was genuine focus on the task at hand, like the next pitch, the next play. And I felt like watching the Gecko kid last night, like maybe there's a reason why he didn't kind of wind up being the front end guy for the Hogs this year. Body language up and down just read, this is not going well. I'm frustrated. I can't do this, whatever it was. To me, now he got the final out of the inning. I'll give him some credit because he blew a 98-mile-an-hour fastball by whoever that was with LSU. But you do wonder, like, if the guy on the mound in that point late in the game trying to get you to a deciding game to go to the championship series is feeling it. I sit here and say, that's not Dave Van Horn. We know that Dave Van Horn never his look is always like this. But the players, is there something in that in that program that I don't know. I don't even know how you gauge those things. You're a head baseball coach, and you have been for a long time. I don't even know how you gauge things like that.
Let me bring up a play that no one's talking about today, but the ground ball between first and second, easy play. And in the first baseman, another inexplicable defensive error. He went after the ball.
Yeah.
It was a left-handed hitter. And they tried not to magnify that on TV last night. Chris Burke wanted to say that's a bad play. Any first baseman knows where the second baseman is playing. And any first baseman is supposed to know, any ball to my right, I'm going to the bag.
Right.
And that created, there would have been 2 out. That's a routine ground ball. So you had a routine ground ball to second base, and you had you never can say a double play is a routine play, but you had pretty much a tailor-made double play to end the game. But it would have been 2 outs and nobody on if the first baseman just goes to the bag on that play. And that's a play no one is talking about today. So that was a team that made some defensive lapses. It wasn't just that kid in left field. And that kid in left field probably had the hardest play out of the other 2 plays.
Yeah. But it's just it's the one with the tying run scored on, or the 2 runs, and then the second one tied it. The play at first, you're 100% right about that, because he's, for those wondering, a little baseball lingo here. So that first baseman, number one, he's shaded towards the line because they're trying to take the double away down the line, right? And he's deep, so it's going to give him some extra time to get a hard ground ball that's hit down the chalk somewhere. And to Coach Holbrook's point, and as you don't need me to explain this, he's the head coach. That's exactly right. Berkey said it last night. Your second baseman is playing in your hip pocket there. Anything to your right, he's already deep. So he's going to be able to get to it. And if he can't, the ball's just a missile. Nobody's going to get to it.
It's a routine 4-3 play. And
100%.
they screwed that up. And it's not being talked about. There have been 2 outs, nobody on, and the game's over, as we all know. I can't imagine. I mean, I was part of a staff that lost the national championship on the last play. Second baseman threw the ball away, and it was a tie game. We weren't ahead, but still, it was the end of it was the top of the 9th inning, and I'll never forget. I still can feel it. I mean, it's still part of me, that 2006 national championship game against Oregon State. I can't imagine it happening twice, because one time is almost oh man, I hate it. I hate it for anybody. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I respect Dave Van Horn as much as I could respect him. He's one of the best coaches in our game. And Arkansas is one of the best teams and programs in our game. And it's tough to explain how that's happened to that team in those two situations in two different seasons when they had the opportunity to either win a national championship or play for it. It's very difficult.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Dave Van Horn, for anybody wondering, is like 60 games shy of being a 1,000-win head coach in this sport. I mean, that is unbelievable. And you can make the argument, Coach, going back to basically around 2007. I mean, before that, if you want to, but if you're counting like 40-win seasons, you go back 17, 18 years, there has not been a team in the Southeastern Conference that's been more consistent and better overall than the Arkansas Razorbacks. And they don't have a national championship, and you can make an argument they should have one. I don't – if they won the game last night, who knows? They still had to win 3 more games to win this thing against – we're going to get to Coastal in a little bit, the hottest team in the country. Let me ask you I don't know if this is a fair question to ask, and if you want to sidestep it, that's totally fine. Of the plays we just talked about, those are mishaps, and those are plays that those kids probably make 99 out of 100 times in practice and in every other game. I mean, they're All-Americans, All-Stars, All-Conference, draft picks, you name it, right? The decision to throw to Jones was a curious one because his run meant nothing. And he was as confident as any hitter in the LSU lineup. What went through your head when he came to the plate? Because they made the pitching change. When they made the change, I knew they were going to pitch to him. At least I thought they would, or else they would have walked the guy intentionally before him and then made the change. What did you think? What did you think there?
Well, he is hot. They're swinging miss. There's strikeouts. He's probably thinking the matchup. And I don't have the lineup in front of me. I was still in like shock at what had happened. So I wasn't thinking like strategically what to do in that spot. I was watching as a fan. My heart was broken honestly, I was thinking about that kid's family. I mean, I was like, man, I can't imagine that, their hearts been ripped out. And now getting back to the game, was there the left-handed hitter they inserted? Was he on deck? They had the big hit, the big 2-out hit early. They put him in the game in the 5th. I'm not real sure who was on deck. And that's what I'm missing here.
The Pearson kid was on deck, the outfielder.
The freshman, the right-handed hitter. Or Josh Pearson, the left-handed hitter.
The Brown kid that went into center. Josh Pearson was on deck, I think.
Oh, well, see, people are scared of him, and he doesn't even play every day. But many coaches think he's the best savvy baseball player on their team. Now he's always in the middle of. Kid can play, and he doesn't. He always steps up in the big moment. So they probably felt right versus right was the better matchup, I guess. And when you're in a spot like that, you just play the numbers. Coach Tanner taught me that. Hey, when you don't know what to do, or when you're on the fence of what to do, you just play the numbers. You go with the averages that gives yourself the best chance, and then you can live with yourself. That's what the game does to you. And I'm sure they probably did that. It's tough though because the kid had just hit a home run. I don't understand why. Man, it's easy to coach from a couch. It is easy, and it's when that heart is racing in that environment, and the entire nation is on you. Things can happen really, really fast. The home run that tied the game, I was a little shocked at that. Not that they walked him, but that they gave him a first pitch fastball to hit right down the middle. There's 2 outs and no one on, and that's the one kid that can lose it in any ballpark. And I threw him a cookie. And where he obviously struggles on sliders, so I was a little perplexed at that. But it's easy. It's easy to coach over here. It's really easy. And those 2 coaches last night are 2 of the best coaches in our game. And and yeah, setting the stage for an interesting national championship final for sure.
Yeah, and the other thing too that I didn't know, I mean, the Jimenez kid who came in for the Razorbacks, we don't know what the scouting report was there. He might have faced Jones earlier in the year and made him look foolish, and that might have been the move. Hey, look, this kid's coming up. This is the dude that solved him when we played against him earlier. This is where we're going to go. It might look like a bad matchup, but this is where we're going to attack it. I don't know. To your point, we never have all the information.
Yeah, I'm telling you, though, as far as getting a base hit to win the game, I can pretty much 100% tell you Van Horn did not want Pearson to hit. And because there's a respect factor there, right versus left, and that kid gets big ones, man. I mean, he is a savvy baseball player. Not necessarily the most talented kid, but he can play. And I guarantee you, in that dugout, they'd rather let the right versus right. At that point in time, you're worried about a single. You're not worried about an extra. You know what I mean? Like, so there was obviously a runner on second base, and they probably felt like Pearson was a better match, or was not who they wanted to face in that spot, I guess is what I'm getting at. But that's baseball, man. I mean, it's freaking. There's hard decisions. In hindsight, 2020, and this couch, our minds are clear. That dugout, things can get going in a hurry.
Yeah, things.
Game moves fast.
I was about to say, it can speed up on you in a hurry.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's Arkansas has, unfortunately for them, in the outside world, the viewership of college baseball, those who are invested in this sport, has kind of moved temporarily, hopefully, for the Razorbacks, because I would like to see them win a national championship. I want Dave Van Horn to get one, and I want that fan base to get one. It's the best fan base in college baseball, if you ask me. Them and LSU, I think, are right there together. And
and Florida State, they're like Arkansas in many respects, having been out in the College World Series, I think 18 times and never won one. And Mike Martin,
Yep.
God rest his soul, he never won one either, and he was one of the best. It's hard, man. That's how hard the game is. You got two of the best coaches that have ever put on a uniform, and Dave Van Horn and Mike Martin, and they just have come up short in winning a national championship. And that doesn't – I mean, they're still the two of the best that ever do it. And that's changed my mind on that.
You're 100%, and that's where I was going. I mean, they're moving into that category. I mean, Dave Van Horn has taken them there 8 times, and they don't have one. You got 3 teams, if you ask me. Arkansas is in there now. Florida State, unfortunately for them, is at the top, and you got Clemson. As many times as Clemson has been there over the years, they've been sitting pretty twice, and the Gamecocks, as you well know, you were a part of the second one, punished them and sent them home. And
it makes you feel good about what our kids were able to accomplish back in 10 and 11, how hard it is to win, and you got to give credit to Coastal. They're getting ready to have an opportunity to win their second. And for those people saying LSU is going to win and this is slam dunk, pump the brakes. I mean, I'm not saying LSU's definitely the favorite, even though Coastal's won 20 million games in a row, it seems like 26, I guess, to be exact. Either one of those two teams can win that series, and it's going to make for great TV for sure. And if Coastal wins 2 national championships, and they'll tie the Gamecocks, and and as the only 2 baseball programs in our state to have won a national championship, won more than one national championship.
That's exactly right. Speaking of those Gamecocks, we just mentioned Van Horn's numbers. South Carolina has been to Omaha 8 times. They've played for a national championship 5 times. 5 of the 8. They've been in it at the end to win the whole thing. All right, we'll step aside. Coach Holbrook's going to stay here till the end of the hour. We are presented by our friends at Gamecock Traditions. GamecockTraditions.com. You can get all your Gamecock gear ahead of football season. It's right around the corner. It is June the 19th. In August, they kick off in Atlanta. So if you want to start getting ahead of it, go to Gamecock Traditions, browse around. There's always a sale. You can go to the sale section. Kids, wives, husbands, family, whatever it may be. Maybe you've got somebody going to South Carolina to attend school in the fall. Get them a gift card. Let them go spend that money at Gamecock Traditions, either in the store in Lexington or online at GamecockTraditions.com. It's 10:24. When we return, he mentioned Coastal. We'll talk about the Chanticleers when we return.
Hey, this is Cornbread Cowboy, and you're listening to the show. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions. Basement crawl space encapsulation designed for your specific needs. Your crawl space can be susceptible to all sorts of issues, including moisture buildup, mold growth, and structural damage if not cared for properly. Let our trained experts provide basement crawl space encapsulation solutions to protect your home, improve air quality, and enhance energy efficiency. Schedule your consultation today for a safer, healthier space at dryspacecs.com. Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions, proud supporters of your South Carolina Gamecocks.
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more.
Happy summer from the Barn Dominium Company, where they are building dream homes all across the Carolinas. Their turnkey process can be custom designed, and you build it your way. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. That's thebarndominiumco.com for floor plans, photo galleries, locations, and to learn more about us. Gamecock owned and operated.
Welcome to Palm Casual Patio Furniture. Because we are the factory, Palm Casual has the ability to offer the highest quality outdoor furniture paired with world-class service. Since 1979, our factory showrooms have done our best to make the buying process as easy as possible for our customers. Our understanding of the many factors that go into your decision has helped us create our 30-day trial period that increases the level of comfort our customers feel during the shopping experience. Visit us in Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Myrtle Beach, and Bluffton, and online at palmcasual.com for our products in out-of-state locations. Go Gamecocks!
Summer programming on the Chief Sports Network is presented by Electric Bikes Charleston. Enjoy your summer like never before. Visit electricbikescharleston.com. Go Gamecocks!
It is summer, that's for sure. 10:28 inside the Gamecocks, the morning show built by the Barndo Co., the head baseball coach of the College of Charleston Cougars. Chad Holbrook here for the hour. All right, so we've got maybe the best team in the country in LSU, and certainly the hottest team in the country in Coastal Carolina, clashing for the national championship beginning this weekend. That series starts in a couple of days. On Saturday, they're both going to get a lot of rest. So everybody's been pointing out that Coastal's won 26 games in a row. Everybody's been pointing out that Coastal last lost on my late father's birthday, April the 22nd. They didn't include that part, I did. What nobody's pointed out is it was to these guys. They've solved every problem this year except the College of Charleston Cougars. So if you get a call from Jay Johnson, and maybe you have, what are you telling him about how to beat these guys?
You know, I don't know if I have. We just played better. The ball bounced our way that night. Well, actually, 2 nights this year. We
smoked them.
We played 2 of our best games against them, and I don't think they were playing at the level certainly they're playing at right now for sure. Coastal's complete now. They have a complete team. They have an SEC type rotation. So you can't sit there and say, hey, LSU has they're going to have better arms. Coastal's arms are every bit as good. Now there might be a couple miles an hour off of velocity here or there, but Coastal is terrific on the mound. Matt Williams has done a masterful job with his pitching staff. To have an ERA that low in that ballpark where pop flies to short sometimes go out of the park, you got to give them credit. They've pitched at a very high level, and it's complete. It's not just starters. They're as good in the bullpen late in the game as they are at the front of the game. They've played great defense. They fielded at a very, very high level. They have really, really gritty baseball players. They kind of remind me defensively of our teams in 10 and 11. But they stepped up, man. When they need a big hit, they get it. They got maybe the best player that no one really talks about much up until the College World Series in the catcher, Bowden. He's incredible. He makes balls look like strikes. He wins a lot of pitches for that pitching staff. They're tough out. It's going to be a tough out, and they're playing they run the bases well. They play defense. They pitch it. They're getting timely hits. They get big 2-out hits. No chink in their armor right now. Is it good enough to beat LSU? That's what's going to make for great theater.
Yeah, this could be one of the better series we've seen in a while, Coach. You've mentioned before the 2010 run when y'all won the first national championship and Blake Cooper has said this to me before too. Maybe the best team y'all actually played that year was Coastal Carolina when y'all went up and won the series in Conway. You played this team twice this year. You played that team twice that year, and now we see what this team's doing. How do you compare and contrast the two?
Wow. I think this year's Coastal team is, and they were first of all, they were probably the best team we played all year, and we played some good ones in 10. They were that good. Their starting pitching is more elite this year. I think their position players that year was every bit as good as this year's group. So it's hard to, I think, see a difference there. They were very elite from a position player standpoint in both years. Their pitching this year is big time, and it's SEC good now. I mean, I told them. I know some of it's getting. I mean, I told them after we played them, and they were upset, and I went over there and. It's crossing the field, and I went over there and talked to their coaches after the game. I'm like, "Hey guys, you guys are terrific." And I don't remember exactly what I said. I pretty much said, "Hey, you're getting ready to host a regional. You're probably going to be a national seed. You're going to have the opportunity to go to the College World Series, and you might win it all. You have the ability to win it all." I felt a little. I was sitting in the other dugout, and I was like, "That's a special team," and I just felt it, and. They've bared me out a little bit. They're legit. They are legit, and got to give them credit. And I'll say this: their Coach Schnall is doing a masterful job of leadership. He has got them playing with an edge. He's got them pissed off. He's got them feeling disrespected. He's got them feeling like it's masterful. It's and you can obviously tell they're hanging on everything he says. And they have an edge. And they have an edge that's been created by their head coach. And gotta give them credit for capitalizing on that on that. LSU's not going to feel disrespected. LSU's the big boy. They have all the pressure on them. Coastal, little old Coastal, a mid-major. They have everything to everything to win, nothing to lose, and that might make things very interesting.
Yeah, but I'll say this though, he has made it a major point to remind everybody we're a power. And even maybe it's not reminding, maybe it's just trying to educate people. We've won a national championship here. Like you say mid-major, and I know you're not, I'm not saying you're wrong about that at all. Like Mike Morgan says often, we have to separate when we talk about major versus mid-major. We have to separate two things here. We have to separate success and money.
Budgets.
Yeah. You know, and Mike's right about that. You know,
Coastal is the Gonzaga of men's baseball. Gonzaga is mid-major, but they're not a mid-major. Coastal, they put their money where their mouth is, and they might not have the SEC budget, but they got a really great facility. They have a great following. They are doing really well. I mean, again, that part of Coach Schnall talking about a national power is an edge that he's capitalizing on. And, I mean, they've been to Omaha 2 times in their career. They're played for a national championship 2 times. They've won 1, to be determined if they go 2 for 2. And if you win multiple national championships, I think you can say you're a national power, especially 2 national championships in the last 10 years. But they have been good for a long, long time now. They've played in super regionals. We played them at North Carolina a couple times in a super regional, one time in 2008 maybe. They were really good. And it's just, you gotta tip your cap to him. And I love what he's doing. I mean, I love the edge he's creating with his team. Bunch of South Carolina boys too now, and we've always said that when we were winning them, we said there's a lot of guys on our teams in 10 and 11 that the front of the jersey was way more important than the back, and you can sense that with them. That program is more important than the name on the back of their jersey, and they're playing like that. It's very mad respect for what they're being able to do, and that's all I can say.
Interesting point there. I happen to make that point often about the South Carolina baseball program, but some people tell me I'm wrong. What do I know?
I can tell you, you're not. You are not.
No.
That Scott Wingo, Roth, Brady Thomas, Jake Williams. You can go on. John Taylor, Matt Price. You can go on and on and on. Those South Carolina boys, they made everybody else in that locker room realize how important that baseball program is. Those guys at Coastal are doing the same thing.
Yeah. It's okay to recruit across the country. You've got to do that these days. We all get it. But especially in a state like this, you better take care of your own backyard or you're not going to be very good. Or you're not going to be at the level that you expect to be. And obviously you understand that as well as anybody. You know how small the baseball world is, by the way? This is how it all comes full circle here, Coach. In 2016, Coastal Carolina heads to the Bayou. They take down Paul Maneri and LSU to go to Omaha and beat Jay Johnson in Arizona in the national championship. This year, they play LSU for the national championship, coached by Jay Johnson. So if Coastal wins this thing again, it'll be Jay Johnson that dropped both series to the Chanticleers with different uniforms on. That's pretty incredible stuff. And that was Jay Johnson's first year at Arizona. He had just come over from Nevada.
Yeah.
And they got hot and at the right time. And of course, Coastal was pretty hot as well.
I might upset some people here in saying this. And because I know you're going to ask me, so I'm going to beat you to the question. You're going to ask me before I get off, who do you like? Who are you pulling for? So I'm going to go ahead and answer it before you ask it.
Okay.
I'm a South Carolina guy, man. And I live in this state and you live in this state. And yeah, we have some SEC ties, but I'm neighbors with those guys and I have respect for them. I'm not pulling against them. And I know there's some rivalry there, and there's some love lost between South Carolina and Coastal, and Coastal and the College of Charleston. But I'm going to show allegiance to my state, and I hope they win. I really do. And and I'll say something a bit controversial here, and probably will ask me a question why, but I'm not going to answer the question why. But I'm a bigger Kevin Schnall fan than I am the skipper at LSU, and I'll just leave it at that.
No, I can understand that. You know, hat tip to Gary Gilmore for not sitting in the dugout all year, by the way. I just had to get a dig in somewhere, you know. And my hat goes off to guys like Gary Gilmore and Ray Tanner who retire and get the hell out of the dugout. They don't just go and sit back in there. You know what I'm saying? They kind of move on about their business. If Clemson was playing for the national championship, though, would you be humming that same tune? I don't know.
No.
No. See, that's exactly.
No.
But all right, let me ask you this: as the head coach at the College of Charleston, the College of Charleston is one of the best true mid-major programs in college baseball, and it has been since John Pulowski took over. I mean, John Pulowski came to the College of Charleston. You know, I love my man Ralph Civiteri, love him dearly. Matter of fact, Monty told me a story not long ago about Ralph Civiteri that I literally had to change my britches. I pissed my pants laughing. I had never laughed this.
There's a lot of those.
You know, I know, you know, knowing Ralph as long as I have, Coach, I mean, I've been around him. I've got plenty of Ralph Civiteri stories, but he told me one that I just couldn't. I've told it to probably 20 people. I'm not going to tell it on the air. But I'll tell you another day. And but I love Ralph, and he's the godfather of that program. He started it. You know, he just came down I-26 from Baptist College and got it going. Had a bunch of great players, including guys like Monty Lee and Austin Alexander, who runs Diamond Prospects and so on. Brian Batson, and we can name Scott Oliver, draft pick. We can name all kinds of dudes. And then JP takes over, and he took it to another level. You know, they're in the postseason, right? And then, you know, JP moves on, and then Monty comes in, and they're within 2 one-run games in Lubbock, Texas, of going to the College World Series, right? And then you know, Heater comes along, and here you are, and it's very, very difficult to get into the postseason, and when you get there, it's very, very difficult to win there. But I'm asking you this as a friend and as the head coach of the Cougars, and you just mentioned polling for Coach Schnall, who is a wonderful man. He's got great guys on that staff. When you watch them do what they're doing again, how does that make you feel about the head coach at the College of Charleston, and how do you maybe use the Chanticleers and their story to translate it into your own locker room? Because I believe, and I know you believe this, but I believe that this type of thing can be done in Charleston, South Carolina. You got the recruiting base, you got the support, you got the ballpark, and that's about to get better. You got the head coach, you got the players. How do you take that message and make it your own?
Well, it's where they are. I'm not going to discount anything. They have a great product. They have a great facility. They've invested a lot of money in their sport. We're not there on that level from an investment standpoint yet, truth be told, and neither is many other mid-majors. I'm not knocking. We invest quite a bit of money here, but it's not at that level. They have an incredible facility to recruit to. They have an incredible product to sell, and we have to match them. And while we've had success head-to-head against them, we haven't been able to consistently win at the level that they have won. And they can finish 7th in the regular season in their league and still get a bid. We can't finish 1st and get a bid. So it's we have our hill is a bit steeper to get those bids unless we win the conference tournament, which we haven't won, and that's on us. And sometimes that's the cruelty of baseball. We can have a very consistent team. We can win the regular season by 4 games. We can have a top 40 RPI. And we still don't get in. If you have a regular season like that in the leagues that they're in, they're automatically in. And so they're going to have more opportunities than we have unless our we get the respect nationally from our league standpoint. So there's a lot of similarities and there's some differences. But to answer your question, yes, we can do that here. We can, and mid majors across the country can, not just the College of Charleston. I think that's been shown by not only Coastal, Murray State. Stony Brook was out there in 2011 when we were out in Omaha. Kent State we beat in 2012. The mid majors have a chance in our sport if they can get in the big dance. And one thing that's made me proud this year is with NIL dollars and the hundreds of thousands of dollars that kids are making at the Power 4 level, and the really small amount of NIL dollars that's being made we still have a shot. And Murray State has showed that, and other mid-majors have shown that. And that's unlike any other sport, to be honest with you. Basketball and football, the mid-major has no shot at really playing for the national championship. They might occasionally, once in a blue moon, make the Final Four, but realistically, it's tough. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but Kevin Schnall is right in many respects. They are a significant power in college baseball because they've done it over time. And as a competitor, you have to tip your cap and show respect for that. And you have to respect their administration too for financially backing them. It might not be an SEC level budget, but it's pretty damn good. And you got to give them respect, and because they've earned it.
No, there's no doubt about that. All right. Coach, we're going to hit one quick break, and we'll come back and begin to kind of wind things down in this final segment. Brought to you by Palm Casual. Make your outdoor space the best it can be. PalmCasual.com. They are Gamecock owned and operated. There's a matter of fact, there's a Palm Casual right around the corner from where Chad Holbrook lives in Mount Pleasant. There's 4 in South Carolina, and there's 1 in Wilmington, North Carolina, and they're everywhere in Florida. PalmCasual.com. We'll be right back.
The season rolls on at Love Chevrolet, where the inventory is overflowing and the deals are in full bloom. Rev up your spring with Love's exclusive specials on Suburbans, Tahoes, Silverados, the entire lineup of award-winning Chevys on the lot now and ready to go. Spring-tacular savings at Love Chevrolet. We're talking the best selection of new Chevys, the lowest price, guaranteed. In fact, they'll beat any competitor's price or give you $1,000. The other dealers upsell, overcharge, and will say most anything to get the sale. At Love Chevrolet, satisfied customers do all the talking, and they say things like helpful, honest, and fun. Your trusted hometown Chevy dealer since 1961, Love Chevrolet. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
That's the power of love. Love Chevy.
Hey Gamecock Nation, my name is Kyle, longtime listener of the show and avid golfer. I wanted to take my game to the next level, but let's face it, golf is a hard game to learn on your own. I heard the ad from McKellar Enterprises and reached out to the owner and former Gamecock golfer, Meredith Taylor. In just 2 months of working with Meredith, I shot my lowest round ever, and I've never felt more confident in my golf game. So if you're looking to take your game to the next level, go to McKellarEnterprises.org and book your lesson today with former Gamecock golfer, Meredith Taylor. Go Gamecocks.
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is Ethan Petrie from Land O'Lakes, Florida. Go Cox.
It's a beautiful morning. I think I'll go outside for a while. Just smile. Just taking some clean, fresh air for
right, 10:50. Morning show. Part of the Chief Sports Network. Chad Holbrook, host of Chin Music. Well, head coach of the College of Charleston and host of Chin Music. Let's get those right. We know who's paying the bills. It's the Cougs. Make sure that we mention that first. We mentioned Coastal. South Carolina, Clemson, recruiting your own kids. What's recruiting this state like right now, from a talent standpoint?
Very good, at least for our level. I can't speak for what Monty's recruiting to right now, or Clemson, or but we I feel very good. We have great baseball in this state. It starts at the smallest level. I mean, great coaches at the high school level. While we might not have a huge population, or we don't have as many high schools as our friends to the north or our friends to the south. But we do have quality, and it goes back. Take care of your state first, and you have a chance to create a culture in your locker room that contributes to a lot of success on the field. And I think it starts there. Honestly, we're South Carolina schools, man. We're from the great state here. We should start here, and that's kind of what we do. That's what we did when I was there. It's what we do when I'm down here, and I don't know. It's just it's a cool feeling to know that you have some South Carolina kids alongside you in the dugout. And as you know, there's nothing more special than being in a dugout with kids you love or teammates you love trying to win a game. That's one of the most precious things of our sport. And until you experience the camaraderie, is something that it's special. And yeah, so I can get emotional talking about this incredible state. Yeah, we don't blow you away from a population standpoint, but we have quality people, quality coaches, quality baseball programs, both at the high school level and the college level, and we're showing that. We're showing it. Some of us have had a few bumps in the road. College Charleston's had, South Carolina has, Clemson's had, but consistently over time, we showed that we can play with anybody in our country, and that's a lot of pride in that.
I would disagree with you on one thing. Based on traffic, I think the population is doing just fine in South Carolina.
Well, but it's our friends from the north or south that has come and visited us because we have a badass state that's contributing to all that traffic. Especially this time of year. Get out.
Yeah, I know, man. Golly, I can't even go to the grocery store. One of those South Carolina kids is coming home to play for you. That's your son, Reese Holbrook, who's going to transfer in, or has transferred in now, I guess, from the University of North Carolina. I just knowing you and Jen and your family, I can only imagine, because y'all haven't been together for years.
No,
for years. I mean, from high school and everything. But this is the boys are back in town, so to speak. Coach, you get to coach your son.
As a dad, I hadn't even got to coach him yet and been on the field with him yet with our team, but I can already tell you it's one of the coolest things I've ever done. I mean, I threw BP to him till the sun went down last night. Having him sleeping here at the house right now has been so cool. And that's the thing. People say, is it going to be a challenge to coach your son? Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. It's a challenge to coach anybody's son. It's not easy. However, people as a dad, Reese stayed back in Columbia when I moved down here because I didn't want to take him away from his high school and his friends and his coaches there. So it's been more than just the college experience that we've been separated. So I'm going to cherish every freaking moment I have around him because it's cool, man. I can get emotional talking about it. The kid's been through a lot. I don't care if he gets one hit for us or he gets 100 hits for us. It doesn't matter to me. Being around him has already been a gift from God. And and the fact that he's still on the earth right now has been a gift from God. And I'm going to treasure every freaking minute of it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
And if anybody wants to say daddy ball and this, that, and kiss my ass, I don't mean it bad. You have no idea. You have no idea. And I'm going to coach my kid harder than I coach my players that aren't my kids. I can tell you that. And I'll probably be a lot more unfair to him because him, I've known him for so long. Then I'll probably be a lot more fair to my other players than I will Reese. But I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And the day that last game is played, man, you have to give me some tissue paper, man. It's I can already. And it's tough. It's tough. And I wish I'd have done it. Everybody says that. I wish I'd have done it early. I wish I'd have done it earlier. And I wish he'd have transferred here earlier. But he got a degree from a great school. But I've missed that kid. There's nothing more cool. As you know, Jamie, there's nothing more cool than being called a dad.
I know.
Nothing. And our mom. There's nothing better. And yeah, being coach is cool. And that's that responsibility is vast, but nothing holds a candle to being called a dad.
That's 100% right. Father's Day was this past weekend, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, I enjoy this day way more than I enjoy my birthday. It's more meaningful to me. I don't even, I forget that I'm having my birthday half the time. It's, oh yeah, my birthday's next week.
Yeah.
Just sitting there with, we're all excited for you. If you get to a point where you feel like, oh, man, how do I handle this moment? Just call Fred Jordan. Because I remember when Kyle was playing for him, we were talking about this not long ago. Kyle, he was getting ready before the game, and Freddie walked up to him and said, "You're not in the lineup today." And he said, "Why not?" And he said, "Because you hadn't hit worth a shit. You don't have a hit in the last 7 games. What do you want me to do?" He said, "Well, I guess fair enough, Dad."
There's going to be some moments like that, I'm sure, for us. And I'm getting a few questions in the inbox. And Reese is an outfielder. He's a left-handed hitter like his dad was, and he can run a little bit. And he has a chance to be a good player for us. We'll see how he does. But yeah, there's going to be days, and if I know he's not in the starting lineup, if I know he's not going to start that day, I'm going to go ahead and make the bed on the couch, because I know when I get home, Mama Jen's going to be waiting for me at the door. So I'm just going to sleep on the couch that night. I'll take it like a man. But yeah, I cannot wait. I can't wait to be on the same field with him every single day. And I'm no spring chicken, man. I've been in this job 31 years as a coach, so I don't have, math will tell you, I don't have too many left. And but I can tell you this one with my son in the same dugout with me, I'm going to cherish every freaking second.
God, it's going to be awesome. Well, we're very excited for you, Coach. Hey, I got one more question for you before we get you out of here in a couple of minutes, okay? Because when y'all are on the road, y'all do wear gray pants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you were a player, because you let off a bunch, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Did you ever walk up to the batter's box and just dig a hole with your cleats after they had already manicured the whole thing?
No.
Or did you? Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. What is more annoying in baseball? That guy or the guy that walks out to the mound and carves about a 2-inch spot in front of the rubber, and you're like, especially the ground, like the guys at South Carolina, they'd kill you if you did that.
Yeah.
So that guy, or because it hit me yesterday, and I love my man Dan McDonald. I love Mac. He's as cool as a cucumber. But much like Clemson and some other teams out there, I can't handle white pants when you're the visitors. What is more annoying in baseball? White pants for the road team, or the leadoff guy who digs a hole into the batter's box before the first pitch of the game is even thrown?
Yeah, it's hey, you see pitchers go out there and dig a hole in the mound before they even take their warm-up pitches.
I know.
I'm like, poor Donnie. When I was at South Carolina, no one cared about a field more than Donnie and Ray Tanner. And if you did something like that field up there, they would let you know. I mean, there's a respect factor. And I'm digging in. Give me a break. You got spikes on. You already dug in. I mean, come on. There's 3 things that annoy. I can go on and on about things that annoy me. Those 2 things that annoy me, they're equal. Answer your question, equal. I mean, gray on the road, let's do it. White pants on the road, yeah. You know what else bothers me? Besides the digging holes in the mound, and the pants above the knee, wearing them like they're shorts. Done with that. That's so yesterday, man. It was cool yesterday. You got to respect the game. Button them. The buttons coming. I'm so glad Chipper Jones called out Georgia. I'm so glad in his home state. And that was funny because you don't wear a baseball jersey like button up and showing your chest. And I mean, come on. Yeah, the game deserves respect. And if you don't respect it, like you said to start off the show, the baseball gods get you. And yeah, they got Georgia. And I'm not saying it was because of that, but hey, you want them on your side. Don't do anything to disrespect the game to not get them on your side. And when you don't wear your uniform the right way, you don't button up, you're not clean, you don't wear your pants right, it doesn't look good. And the game doesn't like it. And no matter what, I'll say this is my last thing. The game knows, JB. Yeah. The game knows.
God, it does. I know. It never misses. Every single time. I remember a couple of years ago when Will Sanders was still pitching for South Carolina. He came out in some of those short pants, and I was like, "Oh no, Will! No, we don't do that here." You know, it's kind of like
Ray wouldn't have let you do that.
You would have been able to walk out. You would have to go back in the locker room.
Right.
You know, you come back when that problem solved.
Right.
It's kind of like in basketball. You know, like because I don't like either era. What era was better, the nut huggers of like 30 and 40 years ago, or about 15 years ago when they were wearing Jinkos that were halfway down their shins?
Yeah, we call them the John Stocktons. You remember that John Stockton wore those pants up around, you know, or the Fab Five is the baggy look, you know. So yeah, let's go somewhere in the middle, you know. How Jordan? I hate to show my Tar Heel allegiance, and you can kind of see Jordan back there in my picture with Coach Williams and Dean Smith. So I got a lot of Michael Jordan love for me, but I thought he wore the pants right. It's in between. It was in between the Fab Five. It was in between John Stockton, yeah. But those baseball pants over the knee, come on, man. Yeah. I think back in the 70s, didn't the Chicago White Sox try to wear shorts actually and stirrups, and they got booed off the field? That's kind of what I feel like doing to those people that wear their pants up above their thigh. It's like it's not how it's meant to be.
Well, about 15 years ago, I might be a little off on the timeline, but do you remember it became a thing in the big leagues where it was the baggy pants? Yeah. They all kind of
bell-bottom baggies.
Yeah, those were horrible. Yeah. Like Manny Ramirez and those guys, like that was their look.
So me and you are traditionalists. We like dirty uniforms. We like gray pants. We like pants worn the right way. We like jerseys buttoned up. We're baseball purists. Let's not apologize for that.
No. That's why I was watching LSU in Arkansas last night, and I was like, thank you for wearing gray and white. You know, I know what you're talking about with Jay Johnson. And LSU, some of those guys have a little flair. Like, I'm not big on the earring dangling by the second baseman and some of that stuff. Yeah. That's how
I respect and like Jay Johnson. I just like Kevin Schnall better. It's not a love-hate thing. Jay Johnson's one of the best. But I like Kevin, and I'm fired up for him and his opportunity that he has, and I'm wishing him well this weekend. I'm going to pull for him.
You got him and Coach Oxidine and other guys. I apologize.
Matt Williams.
Well, I know Matt. But Matt's the only one on the staff that didn't play at Coastal. The other three guys all played there.
Yeah. You got to give him credit. And Chris Owens is Connor Owens is there, and Chris Owens. There's Gamecock ties there. And you're right. I'm going to say this, and the last thing I say to all our Gamecock fans listening today, and you're right. I'm pulling for Kevin Schnall. If Clemson was playing, it would be go LSU. So I'm signing off to that. Go Cougars, go Cox, and we'll see you down the road, my man.
Give Miss Jen a hug, and we've got some time now. So if you want to do a dinner night, let me know. Carrie and I we're free for a couple of weeks, and then traveling starts again.
I can't wait. And have me on again real soon. I miss all these folks texting me, and we're fired up about being on. And Chin Music's we're gonna start increasing the catalog here real soon, and got something really cool lined up for the end of the month here. And I look forward to putting a couple episodes out here real soon. So thanks for sticking with me through baseball season, and we'll get that rolling. And also follow me on social medias. And anybody got some great baseball card collections out there? I'm always buying. I don't play golf. I love baseball cards. I love old stuff. I love baseball. I love the sport. I love the Gamecocks. Love you, JB. Thanks for having me on.
I love you too, man. See ya. There you go. I forgot about the baseball card stuff. We'll have him back next week. He can show you what he's talking about. These aren't like everyday baseball cards. I've never seen a collection like this. He goes to card shows, and I mean, this is like crazy, big time stuff. We'll do more of that. All right, it's over the end of the hour. Taneyhill's coming up soon. We'll be right back.
Welcome to SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chiefs Sports Network. Debuting Sunday, June 1st at 8 p.m. on the Chiefs Sports app and the Chiefs Sports YouTube page. Hosted by Rob Williams and Craig McMichael, SEC Sunday Night will feature the conversations, have the information, and host the guests that make this storied conference great. Join us June 1st for SEC Sunday Night on the Chiefs Sports Network.
There's nothing like Saturday in South Carolina. However you enjoy Gamecock football, Gamecock Traditions has a long-standing legacy of being a part of your game day. From tailgates to touchdowns, Gamecock Traditions has what you need and want with our beloved Block C logo. Get into Gamecock Traditions in Lexington or the Village at Sand Hill, or visit GamecockTraditions.com and have it shipped to your doorstep. We look forward to taking care of your family. Go Gamecocks.
Nana's Porch presents a Southern staple delivered right to your doorstep. Nana's Porch locally crafted pimento cheese has been a hit for years at weddings, tailgates, and other events. Now you can order online and have it sent to your home. Visit nanasporch.com. That's nanasporch.com and click the pimento cheese tab to choose between their original pimento cheese and their jalapeno smoked pimento cheese set. nanasporch.com, man, that's good.
This is my dirt.
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show. Presented by the Barn Dominium Company and Resto Pros of the Midlands. Hour 2 starts now.
Yeah, I'd hate to be the first to sell. This is my dirt, these are my fields, where I harvest what I plant. That little pond, I catch bluegill. I built that barn with my 2 hands, where I raise my babies, a piece of me. Now this ain't just a piece of land. The money be great, but I can't part ways with a life that works. You can't put a greenback dollar on what it's worth. This is my dirt.
All right, it's the final hour. What's today? I don't even know. Is today Thursday? Today's Thursday, right?
Yes. Yeah, I know. I've been getting lost in the days here. But I know it's Thursday because JC is on his way. So that's because that was going to happen on Thursday. He's already called. He's en route.
Yeah. I'm sure he is. We are not going. Number one, I don't, no disrespect to anybody. I know it's going to be an incredible event. I try to not do a bunch of events. I just don't, for whatever reason, love having the same conversations over and over. But also we're getting the house painted on Monday from my man Tristan and his team with a couple of painters.
Nice.
Clients of ours around here. And so we are going to, we're going to spend Sunday kind of buttoning up, taking everything down, and Saturday the kids. So I've been teaching them a lot about commerce, and how you make money, save money. Hopefully they'll do a better job of that than Dad's done. Yeah. But so they have decided that Saturday's the day. I tried to come up, Bradford Market or R&H Market. Nope. Riley and Hannah's store. That's the name that they've
Riley
come
and
up with.
There you go.
So we're gonna go. We're gonna set up. There's a neighborhood pool We're going to set up in front, and they get to make their menu, and they're going to do cookies and brownies and lemonade, and they want to do popsicles and chips and stuff like that. And I said, okay. So we're going to, but they got the right thing going here, Phil. I said, well, look, it's just the ice pops where you just cut the plastic,
Yeah.
I said, well, 25 cents for those. Well, they should be $1. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe more like 25 cents, getting 50 at the most. But we're, it's like $4 for 100 of them. So I'm thinking, maybe let's do 25 cents, and then you'll put it in the cash register, and then, here's how you give the change, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what about
they're out there price gouging already? Like, hey, listen, this supply and demand around here, Dad.
Yeah. Well, that's
we got them. They want them.
Said. She's like, Dad, aren't we adjusting for inflation? I was like, yeah, kid's smart. Lemonade, how about 50 cents? How about $1? Well, maybe like 50 cents. No, I think we want to do it. The one thing I did tell him, I said, look, if you're going to do cookies and brownies, you could come up with a deal, like 2 for $1, or if you want to buy a brownie, it's $1. I said, look, there's a lot of work that goes into that. You got to adjust for time. You're going to be baking these things and taking care of them. So we got to put the time into that. But you could do maybe a cookie and a brownie for $1, or you can just buy a brownie for $1 and a cookie for 50 cents. See what I'm saying? And okay.
No, $1. I like it. Stand firm.
Yeah. Well, these kids, they used to think that coins were, that was where it's at. They're shiny, and we don't. What are these dollars for? Now they're starting to figure out. Like when we, I let them take their own money in their little purses, and we'll go to the store and get a treat or something like that, and they'll put it up there, and I'm like, well, you can't buy it with those coins. You're gonna have to use so they're starting to figure out, well, the dollars. Man, we need more of those. I'm like, yeah, you need more of those. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm getting the negotiation. Like, okay, so I get $10 for doing all this through the week. What if I were to do like a couple? Can I get 20? Well, hold on. First off, I'm paying you to do things that you should be doing already. Let's get that clear.
Yeah. Number one. Yeah. Let me explain a couple of things here.
Yeah. Hold on.
While we live in a democracy, in this home, it is a dictatorship.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, this is an authoritarian regime here inside the house. Outside, different story. In here, my way.
The stuff that everybody's trying to convince you that this is true. Well, in this house, it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so let's get that out of the way. You could do it for $10, or you could do it for $0. Those are your two choices.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyways, that was great to have Coach on, and we'll try to get him back next week.
I missed him. It's always fun having Chad on, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the man, and he's such a. It's great. It's crazy because he's so open about it. After being the head coach of South Carolina, being relieved of those duties, being at the College of Charleston, you would think he'd just be sour grapes, and he literally loves South Carolina. He's like, I want to see those guys win. Yeah. He wants to play them every year. Of course, he wants to beat them. He's not going to play them just so he can get a win. Hell, the College of Charleston should have beat them this past year. They gave that thing away. But he's a heck of an ambassador, there's no doubt, and pretty neat to see. Pretty neat. He called me. Yeah, I guess it was towards the end of the season, and said Reese was probably going to transfer, and the timing was right.
Yeah.
He wanted to come home and be a part of the program. And he said, well, here's the deal. We're not going to talk about this until you finish the season with North Carolina. Number one, it's tampering. Well, but you're my dad. Yeah,
still.
I can still break the rules, and I'm not interested in doing that. So you'll finish the year, and let's see how you feel at the end of the season. But they pretty much knew it was going to happen. So
he's a grad transfer, though, isn't he? Though, he did. Yeah. Okay, so
and Cooper went to Rice, and I don't think he enjoyed that experience too much. I don't think he loved the head coach. Now DC Arendis and Parker Bangs were on staff there, so those are good ties for him being from with South Carolina. But that Rice program, I think the leadership was pretty poor. So Cooper's He initially went to Vanderbilt and then he transferred there. But he's like really, really super smart. Like he's like one of the guys that's going to solve the problems in the world type smart. And as Chad will tell you, he got that from Jen, not Coach. So he's, I think, ready to move on in life. So tomorrow, Mike Morgan will be here tomorrow for his third appearance on the program this week. He'll be here the whole time.
We're Mike out.
Yeah, Mike's going to be here, and Matt's going to be here tomorrow too. One of the things that Mike, I texted Mike the other night. I said, man, I was watching the World Series. I said, if you could take, and so we're going to do this tomorrow. I just texted him out of the blue, and I thought about it. I was like, well, let's put that on the show. I said, if you could take in this century, okay, so since the year 2000 through now, today, 2025, if you could make a Dream 8 for Omaha, 8 teams that have played they didn't have to win the College World Series, but have played in the College World Series since 2000 till now, which 8 teams would you take? Like, obviously, this would be in a fantasy dream world of, I'm going to take this team from this year, this team from this year. I'm going to put all of them, and let's go see who the best team of the 20th century is. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we're gonna play that game. We got some happy meter tomorrow and stuff like that too. We do have some hoops. We'll talk about Colin Murray Boyles and what's going on with him because his draft stock keeps rising. And obviously we'll talk plenty of baseball and we'll talk plenty of football. But if you could have a Dream 8, like who do you basically? It's very subjective. Essentially, who do you think the best 8 teams are that have played in this thing since 2000?
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You gotta, and that's why I texted him the other night. Is I was, we decided, well, let's do it next week. Oh, well, hey, how about I come on the show on Friday? Okay, but it's gonna take some time. I mean, I can remember all the champions, but there were some really, really outstanding teams that did not win the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could even make the argument. Coach mentioned one. That those 2 North Carolina teams in 06-07, that South Carolina team in 2002, the Arkansas team in 2018, we mentioned that there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them out there, and we're in our own little SEC world around here sometimes. But you also forget some of these other teams that have gone out to Omaha from the West Coast or the Midwest or wherever and won this thing. I've already got my 8, unless I change it between now and then. And I don't think there's any doubt who the number 1 overall seed is. We're going to seed them 1 through 8. These were our 8, and this would be the 1 through 8 seeds. I'm not so sure there's any doubt who the top seed would be, but I'll leave that. That'll be mysterious until tomorrow on the morning show. So
nice. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Neat little drill. I haven't seen anybody ever do anything like that. And so I figured, we'll do it. That's what we're gonna do.
And y'all will be, you're knowledgeable enough to where it'll actually be a really interesting list. I'm sure. I'm interested to see where y'all differ. Obviously, that's more interesting. But knowing how good you both are at this, then I'm sure it'll be great.
One of the other things too, Phil, and I know we got to hit a timeout and get to Coach Taneyhill.
That's right, Coach T.
But is he in yet? Or
not yet? Yeah, not yet.
And you never know, Steve. He just kind of eases on in, eases on out. One of the other things we'll hit on some tomorrow is a really cool article that Chris Lowe, who I think is the best writer, one of the maybe the best writer, if not, he's one of the top 2 or 3 best writers ever. When it comes to college football. And it came out. If you haven't had a chance to read it, you should go read it. Start boggling your mind a little bit. Came out yesterday. College football's 10 most unbreakable records. And then he's got a bunch of kind of close but no cigars behind it. And so we'll talk about some of that too. For what it's worth, the number 1 record, and I think he's dead on about this. I don't foresee this record being broken. Was what happened in the 50s under Bud Wilkinson in Norman, Oklahoma. They won 47 games in a row.
Yeah, that's
It's very similar. I don't know if it's more difficult or not, but it's very similar to what South Carolina did in the postseason from 2010 to 2012. 22 straight wins.
Yeah.
In the postseason. Like it's just not happening anymore. I still can't even believe they did that. So we'll talk about some of that tomorrow too.
Yeah, nice.
Tomorrow will be a fun Friday. We'll make sure of it.
Good fun way to finish the week.
Yeah. We're and then next week we got 5 more programs. Then we're off for 2 weeks, and we'll be back on media days, and it will begin to go from there. All right, it's 11:19, so we will hit a break. Powered by the wonderful people and the incredible products at Electric Bikes of Charleston, also the owners of Charleston Fitness Equipment. CharlestonFitnessEquipment.com, ElectricBikesCharleston.com. If you've ever noticed, these are like large investments. Like they're not cheap. It's not like you're going to Walmart and grabbing a Huffy off the shelf. You know what I mean? Like you're putting some cash into this deal. You're going to use it for the beach or the mountains or wherever you're going, the Midlands, wherever. So they have people who literally come from everywhere. Warranties, service, guarantees. They'll fix anything. So when you're making an investment like that, you want to spend your money very wisely. You might want to do it with people that know what the hell they're talking about. And those are certainly the Gamecock fans, the Wilkins family. I don't know why I just said Bud Wilkinson. Sorry, Michelle.
Yeah, right.
The Wilkins family from Electric Bikes of Charleston, Charleston Fitness Equipment, ElectricBikesCharleston.com. Steve Taneyhill when we return.
Home fitness has evolved. With Matrix, now there's no limit to the ways you can chase your goals. It's time to make your next workout whatever you want it to be. You can use all of your subscriptions or none at all. Take on exclusive hit programs or move through immersive HD destination footage while you sweat.
Visit CharlestonFitnessEquipment.com.
Remarkable, 5-star, sensational. These are just some of the terms used to describe nationally renowned chef William Turner out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Originally from Georgetown, South Carolina, and a diehard Gamecocks fan, Chef Will made his way out west and has served parties from every state and many countries from across the globe. If you're in Arizona or have plans elsewhere, visit ChefWilliamTurner.com to inquire about private events and more. From MLB to NFL, the chef has served everyone. He's won all the awards, done all the press. There's a reason for that. Food from every culture, all of it first class. ChefWilliamTurner.com and Chef Will Turner on socials. You won't believe what you see. You really won't believe how it tastes.
We got started in 1979. Because we're a manufacturer, we're able to control our costs. That's why we like to manufacture as much of the product as we can, because in our factory stores we can offer a competitive edge over other people around the country.
30-day money-back guarantee, that's a big deal with us. I mean, we give 30 days to do anything. I mean, return it, change it, get a different color, get your money back.
When you pull into a store and it says Palm Casual, you know you're at a factory store.
I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Disaster comes uninformed. During and after natural disasters or accidents, there can be a heavy loss to property. It can become extremely difficult to bounce back to what you knew before. Having your home or office destroyed or damaged by water, fire, smoke, or mold affects your personal and business lifestyle. Resto Pros of the Midlands is here to help. Open 24/7. Call them when you need them. 803-493-0170.
Set up a screen, and it goes to Brewer. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Ryan Brewer, his second of the day. Pitches it to Brewer, turns the corner, touchdown, number 3 of the afternoon.
Hey folks, it's Mike Morgan for Ryan Brewer Fence. That's right, you know the former Gamecock legend as a terrific college football player. Well, I know him as that too. I also know him as the guy that runs a great business, one of the best businesses in South Carolina. How do I know that? Well, for one, I'm actually a client of Ryan's. I had my home in Columbia done years ago, and his crew did an outstanding job, just as he does for everybody else. Whether you're in the market for a fence, railings, columns, or anything in between, their craftsmanship, their experience, and service second to none. Ryan Brewer Fence has over 15 years of experience with consultation and installation of residential and commercial fencing and railings. Rest assured your job will be done with an unparalleled level of expertise, and it's done on time, and they do it right the first time. Again, you're not going to do any better than Ryan Brewer Fence. The website is ryanbrewer.net. Set up an appointment today. Tell him Mike sent you.
You're tuned in to Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show, presented by Resto Pros of the Midlands, part of the Chief Sports Network. Go Gamecocks!
All right, it is 11:25. Welcome back inside the Gamecocks the morning show, built by the Barndo Co. and brought to you by Resto Pros. Coach Tanny will be in just 1 minute. Just give him a minute. He's got to put his glasses on and get
set up. Yeah, that's
stuff.
right. Mm-hmm.
The 7-on-7s are ongoing for Gamecock football. They do have a bunch of dudes in. We're going to try to give some time on that to get some updates. But I will say, keep your eyes peeled to the big spur the next couple of days. As Hale and Alex and the gang, they've really got you covered there. There is a lot of talent in those 7-on-7s, and then this weekend with officials. No real updates to pass along just yet. I've gotten a couple of things this morning, but nothing that's I would call newsworthy or noteworthy to this time. Then the dead period hits, so they're going to have they'll have some time to kind of get some things in order and go from there. Quick note here, Carolina baseball recruiting. I can say this now. It was, couldn't really before. Carolina trying to complete their pitching staff out of the portal with a left-hander who has visited. His name is Dylan Loy, and he is incredibly, uberly talented from Tennessee. Would have a chance to be a true weekend guy at South Carolina, as good of a chance as anybody. He I would say, I would say they're in a good spot. They're in a good spot. But you never know. So hopefully by today or tomorrow, maybe we'll have an update on that. And hopefully it's a good one for South Carolina, but that would, if it didn't, it might not totally complete it. We'll put it that way, Phil. It might not. Things always change, but it would certainly, if it didn't, it would get them very, very close. And they do need another left-hander, and they do need a talented one. And this kid is that. He led the Tennessee Vols in appearances this year, and he's got all the things that you want. So we'll see if they can get it done. And if they can, I would myself, just my opinion on this. I mean, he might not throw 99 And I know that's the only thing that impresses some people. I'm going to remind folks they were throwing 97, 98, 99 last night, and it was getting hit all over the yard. You do have to be able to pitch,
Well, the harder you throw it, harder it flies off the bat. I mean, it's physics.
you got to be able to pitch. I would. This is just my opinion. I think he would be the most complete arm that they would have signed in this class. And I think he would have as much of a leg up as anybody to be one of the central focal points of that staff next year. I'm not going to go in and like rank guys or something like that, but if you said, hey, rank all these pitchers first to last who they brought in, I would, if I didn't put him at the top, he'd be damn near it, but probably at the very top. So we'll see what happens. They've been really working hard and still recruiting, still got a bunch of stuff going on, and we'll see what happens there too. So good. That is, I would say, decently good news right now for South Carolina baseball. No World Series tonight. No World Series tomorrow night. So we've got some downtime. So any of you that are trying to squeeze in your shows and stuff like that, now's the time to do it. Saturday it kicks back up and maybe on into Monday. I got a feeling this World Series is going to be a 3-game series. Just a hunch. I don't think that anybody's going to sweep their way through this thing. I do think Coastal's winning streak will end at some point in time, and I don't know who wins it. But this is very often how it kind of comes together. The best team versus the hottest team.
I like it. It's a great setup. Good storylines.
Yeah.
Oh, look, looks like we got Steve in here.
And maybe the hottest team is the best team.
It may very well be. I'd forgotten Jay Johnson was the head coach of that Arizona team that Coastal took out. It's like, oh man, no, he probably wasn't happy with that draw.
Yeah.
It's like, no, not again.
or he's looking for revenge.
That's right. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, or he finally gets his shot, man. But my heart pours out to Dave Van Horn. I mean,
oh God,
the probability of that happening twice is insane. And it's hard enough just to get there. I hate to go out like that, but y'all made a lot of really salient points regarding that. Here, let's see. All right.
That's the way it always is. Everybody's a couch coach,
It's ready. Oh, I know. I mean, I saw all the takes on there, but I was just like, dude, that left fielder is going to have to transfer, and I hate it for Dave.
Yeah. Well, Holbrook's point on that, I'm glad he made it. I was going to say something similar, but not from a firsthand account experience. Of all the plays, that was the most difficult one. Any ball that is got top speed, that's rolling over like that to an outfielder is already hard. Yeah. Like, it's very hard to judge that. So that's that's number one. Number two, as Coach pointed out, if it caught the lights at all, it throws you off. You make one stutter step, one movement, you slip and fall. And that's what happened. And the ball hit him in the back.
Yeah.
The biggest one, and I know he mentioned the one at first was a huge play that nobody was talking about. And I 100% agree with him. When he fielded it last night, I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you going here? Like, you're playing no doubles defense down the line. You're going to, A, the second baseman's there. B, you're going to have a horrible angle to be able to make a good throw to the pitcher if he gets there in time.
Right.
You should have already had that communication. Who's got the 4-hole? I've got it. Okay, we're good. And then obviously the play with Loy at shortstop was just the brain fart of all brain farts. There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Nope, he might be a little frozen, but we've got him. No, he's not frozen.
Well, here he is.
Here's Steve Taneyhill. What's
He's
up?
got a deer mounted on the wall. He's very good at being still.
How are you? Can you hear us?
Hello?
We
Yep,
we can hear you. Yeah, what's up, man?
Another day, another summer hot day. Finally, we got some heat.
Have you already been out getting things ready for the fall so you can put another one of those bucks on the wall behind you?
We working towards it. It's a little warm right now, and I've been under the weather for about a month, so I'm about a month behind. But we are we're getting there little by little.
Are you feeling a little bit better?
Yeah, had a rough May. Had a rough May, and but can't play golf. Had a little hernia operation, and just now allowed to resume golf. So looking forward to swinging a club for the first time in over a year. But definitely always getting ready for deer season, no question. This weekend, I got the wing off the Gamecock event at CB18, so I gotta go full Gamecock mode for this weekend. So it ought to be fun. But yeah, it's summer, definitely. Kids, I got one in cross country and one in football, and so they're going their way every day. We got a new puppy to the family. It's a madhouse. I live in a madhouse.
That's the way it's supposed to be, Steve. You know that. That's life there, man. Yeah, 4:00 is when it begins at CB18 and 5 points. If any of you are going, have a blast. I think Monty's going, and I was texting with Ashley the other day. I think she's going. Ashley Chastain. There'll be a bunch of folks there. Hey, what's the most amount of chicken wings you yourself have ever put down at one time?
Oh, I would never win this contest. I don't know, 15 maybe max. Now I don't have much appetite, so I'd say about 8 would be about my limit. But I don't know. Back in the day, I could definitely probably drink more beer than eat chicken wings, but not anymore.
Hey, when you were at South Carolina, did you ever take your offensive line out to dinner?
Oh yeah, every Sunday.
Oh, really? Where'd y'all go?
I guess now they're getting the NIL, it don't matter. But I had a spot every Sunday, different place. I'd get a heads up, if you know what I mean, to bring them there. And usually the guys that, back then, a lot of guys lived or from South Carolina would go home Saturday nights. We didn't have anything on Sundays, so it was a complete off day. So a lot of guys would go home, but the guys that were left, we went a lot of places. Dee's Wings was always a favorite of the guys. We went there a lot. Zorba's went there quite a few times. So I mean, there was like I said, Longhorns. There was usually a heads up where to go.
We don't have to do that anymore, Coach.
No, now you just pull out your credit card or your cash, and you can take them anywhere. You make what, $5,000 a week? I don't know what it is. This is insane. I listened to the Vanderbilt quarterback was talking about how he was talking about like weekly, how when he first started NIL it was like $1,400 a week. And I'm thinking, man, $1,400 a week in college is still a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, it's still good. It's still good. I mean, I don't know. I don't wish it upon myself. The cell phones and everything that goes with it. But they sure do. They sure do. If they're smart, man, they can walk out the college door and have a nice little egg set up for themselves for sure. Even the bottom tier guys. I mean, look at the basketball. Did you see some of the? I guess a couple pros are at Oklahoma, going to help, and the going price for like a guy off the bench was like 200,000 or something, and the NBA players they're like, we're not paying $200,000 a year for a guy that averaged 5 points and 5 rebounds. Like, it's insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just crazy that I'm all for production pay, but you got to earn something for me to pay. But like I said, $1,400 a week, man, that ain't bad, and everything's paid for. You're on scholarship,
right? Well, I couldn't imagine, like in my era, your era, any era prior to this, and knowing the guys that I know and knowing how I was, if you gave me $1,400 a week, I don't even know if I'd be here. You know what I mean? Like, it was
right.
I think that's
the thing. I mean, back in the day, we used to, we had a couple Thursday night games. So, being off Friday and Saturday and had to be back, like 8 o'clock Sunday, we used to just drive to Myrtle Beach, or a spring break, you go somewhere for 4 or 5 days. Man, you're going to pay me $1 million in college or something like that or more. I'm renting a private jet. We're going to Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, I mean, it's just crazy that at 19 and 20 years old, you have a definite heads up start to your adult world. While you're playing college football or any college sport.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, the report the other day from The Athletic and Bruce Feldman, he wrote the story about Lenoris Sellers, and Lenoris's dad mentioned that there was a school who had offered Lenoris in the offseason $8 million to leave South Carolina. So obviously this is tampering. It's all illegal.
Right.
But to leave South Carolina and come be the quarterback at their school, and they decided that was not the best thing for them to do. Clearly, he's well taken care of at South Carolina, as we all well know. I don't think it's $8 million, but
no.
we know that he's well taken care of in a Gamecock uniform. And then that was the headline, though, Steve. That was the headline right there. He got $8 million to leave. That's it. What's the rest of the story, though, I thought was more impressive to me, not just the fact that he stayed and was like, hey, look, I played football for free my entire life. Like, I love it here. This is where my family is. This is where my guys are. We're building something. The part of the story that's getting no run was he's about to close on a house. And you just mentioned a moment ago, hey, if you're smart and you know what you're doing, you could get a leg up in life. This guy is, you're not – it's a very slim chance of whatever home he's buying, he's going to lose his rear end on it. He's at some point in time, that's going to be maybe his largest asset. Who knows? And these are things that were nowhere in our world, your world, or my world, or Stephen Garcia's world, or anything like that. And now you got the starting quarterback in South Carolina with a bunch of NIL money, who is staying and committed to the program, buying a house. It's just hard to even fathom that that's where we are in college sports right now.
Oh yeah, we've gone from maybe a free car to, after a big win, free drinks, maybe a free meal here or there, to these stars riding around in Lamborghinis and got 3 or 4 cars, and they're in college, 20 years old. I would imagine that $8 million is a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
For Lenoris, which, if you look at the rankings, if he has unbelievable, I shouldn't even say unbelievable, if he just shows a whole bunch of progress from the pocket, he might be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because he could be a first-round pick and could be a high pick just because of all the things he brings to the table. And personally, I think he's got to get better from the pocket and throwing the football. If you look last year, we still don't throw it to the wideouts much. And that's one thing in the NFL. you've got to be able to throw that route tree. You know, I mean, you got to be able to throw the deep digs and the deep outs and the corner routes, and you know, open in the NFL is not is closed everywhere else. You know, the windows. So you got to show. He's got a lot to show, but he's so talented and such a nice guy. I've got to know him and look forward to seeing him on Saturday for sure. But this NIL stuff's just man, it's a different ball game for sure. I would imagine it's hard to coach.
Yeah.
You know, you see kind of all these older guys, legends of the game, kind of bow out. And I don't think the reason they're bowing out is all NIL, but I think it has something to do with it because they're used to building a program. Kind of, I guess, if you look around the country, the only one that's kind of really doing it's Dabo. You know, he's only bringing in what, 1 or 2 or 3 transfers a year. He's the only one that's, but they haven't been really good either these last few years. Now he's loaded up there this year, but you know, he's got to play catch up. But I think some of these legends of coaching got out because they didn't feel you could do it that way anymore, is build the program from recruiting. Well, which would be hard. I think this is a tough landscape to coach in for sure.
Well, I think so too. You know, I've talked to Shane about that, and the baseball coaches, the basketball coaches. I mean, they all say the same thing. Steve, and you've had these same conversations with them. It's not like you haven't heard it. We've all heard it. I mean, you get to the end of the year, and your first job is to recruit the guys that you've got on your roster. You got to re-recruit the guys that you got on your roster, which is crazy. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. Definitely the superstars who are going to, you know, unfortunately, they're going to get a wandering eye because of situations like this that you just had, you know, with Lenore Sellers. And then you got to go out and you're recruiting high school kids, you're recruiting portal kids, and every year it's like you're building a team, not a program. And I think you said something there that's a lot of Carolina fans aren't going to like, and I get it. I understand that, you know. But Dabo Swinney, the one thing we all have kind of laughed in his face about certain things he said and done over the years, but I gotta give him some credit and respect, and I think he deserves it. You know, he has stood his ground mostly. I think there's some things that he said, well, if this ever happens, I'm getting out, and he hadn't done that. But he also hasn't swayed too far away from the things that he believes are important to building a program. And I actually do. It's a different landscape, and Beamer is much more open to doing the things that you have to do in today's game than Dabo is. But I think Shane's got a lot of that in him. Like, no, this is how we're going to do it here at South Carolina. I don't care how they do it at Alabama. I'm going to do it here at South Carolina. This is our way of doing it. I mean, based on how things are going, it's working.
Yeah, well, it's working. But last year, you look, and I'm not negative Nelly by any means, but there was a time last season we were on that fence. Mm-hmm. You know, we were solely on that fence. Was this stuff working? And then we hit, you know, the 6 wins in a row. I think the best job that Coach Beamer has done in this transfer portal, honestly, was taking care of those 3 down linemen last year. He took care of them. They all got paid roughly the same thing. He took care of them, and they were the anchor to the defense. Now, obviously, the defensive ends get all the headlines, but we won a lot of games in that 6-game run because those 3 down linemen were so good. Mm-hmm. And they ate up the blocks to get those defensive ends who were great last year, truly one-on-one matchups, and they created havoc. Now, you know, the freshman is unbelievable talented. You know, he's special. But I really believe that Coach Beamer, his best so far in that transfer portal is keeping those 3 defensive linemen at home with us and not letting them get out the door, even before a lot of people knew about them. You know, you got to think, not everybody knew TJ Sanders, and not everybody knew these guys, and a lot of them guys were homegrown talent, and we recruited. And I still like to see, you know, when we recruit a kid and he hangs in there, goes through the up and downs, and becomes a star. And I think the NFL people like that too. That obviously they like talent and production, but don't for a minute think that an NFL coach isn't looking at a kid's background and saying, "Hey, this kid started out as a freshman, worked his way, and now he's become a star." There's still those guys out there that can really play, and I like to see that when they recruit a kid. You know, Spurrier used to do it, recruit 2-star DBs, and half of them made it to the NFL.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody forgets that about the Spurrier because we had the Clownies and we had Alshon and we had Marcus. We had all these big names, but our defense was so good. We had a lot of 2- and 3-star defensive backs that turned out to be NFL guys, you know? So there's 100 ways to win football games. If they don't do something, the richest, they're still going to win, just like it was when it was under the table, you know, because I'm hearing that we're about mid, you know, about 6 or 7 in the SEC as far as football budget, which if you're that, I mean, that's good in the SEC. That's probably 10 wins, 9 wins you're supposed to have. But, you know, the high states, and look at the Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Women's softball. And just take that for example. They get a girl offer $1 million. They're runners up for the national championship. Ain't never been there, you know. But Texas Tech, big money, you know. Texas, big money, you know. SEC, you know, Bama, but it's just different than oil money. It is.
Yeah. Well,
but we're still on that same line as the rich have the advantage, you know. That's where we're headed unless they put a cap on it.
Yeah, and I don't know how they're going to do that because they don't have the structure to do it. There's no like you'd have to have the other side to be able to negotiate, which would be a union, and they don't have that in college athletics. Yep. So doesn't that like where would you rather be? Would you rather be I mean, look, aside from let's try to minimize, like if you could win both ways, you know, where would you rather be on this, Steve? On the side of we've got as much money as it takes, go out and buy whoever you need to buy, or would you rather be on the side of kind of what you mentioned a moment ago with Coach Sweeney and Coach Beamer, like let's build our program and be careful about how we do this, make sure we've got the right guys in this program who fit this program, because it doesn't always, you can go buy the best player in the country, he might not be the best thing for your program. Like, what side of the fence are you on that?
I don't know. I look at Ohio State last year,
right,
and they won it all, and most of those guys were returners. You know, they built those, a lot of seniors on that team, and then they brought in a quarterback, and he led them, but. I don't know. In that locker room is where I would worry. You know, you bring in this guy, is there not any jealousy or, you know, I don't know. I don't know because I'm not in there and I haven't been in there. So I don't know really how that works. You bring in a guy and you pay him a bunch of money, and you got another guy over here who's been working his butt off for 3 years and he doesn't get an opportunity because you brought in this guy. But he's been in that locker room, the blood, sweat, and tears with the whole group. I always worried about as a coach, the locker room is important. Who's in charge of that? Because it's not the coach. There's got to be leadership. Do you get true leadership when you bring a guy from a different program for 1 year?
Yeah,
I don't know. I like how Dabo does it, which I like Dabo. Dabo's a good guy, great coach. He's figured out a system. He figured it out when he had, you can say what they want, but he had it figured out when he was winning back to back or, 2 national championships. He was winning it. I mean, them guys were getting paid then. I mean, he figured out the Southern football in the ACC, but he was from Alabama, so he understood how it worked. But I just, as long as you have a solid locker room as far as leadership, I think you can bring in a guy here or there. I would always worry about bringing in a quarterback, just because, a 1 year guy, you just haven't seen him. Like when I started as a freshman, I think if I'd have went out there in the first game against Georgia and started and played bad or didn't play well, the older guys on the team probably wouldn't have been happy with it. But how it worked for me was we were in dire straits, and they throw me in the 6th game and we win and start winning. Well, they're all in at that point, So it's just a tough, man. Like I said, it's tough to be a college coach right now, but the money's tripled for them too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, there's still no player getting more than the coach. That ain't happening.
Right.
But that is happening at the next level, by a big margin. So I don't know. I came from, 10 hours away. So the in-state guys are just different when you come into that situation. They know each other, played against each other, respect each other. You've got to find your fitting. My fitting was I was just down, I just hung out with whoever. I played basketball. I got here in the summer, we played basketball. That's how I learned some of the guys, or go out, or, you just got to figure out a way to fit in so that your true talent and leadership abilities come out. But, when you come in from a different program and they pay you $2 million, what if you're not any good? Like, there's got to be some cautionary tales, like the quarterback that left Clemson, DJ. He got paid a lot of money to go to 2 or 3 other places, and just wasn't very good. How'd he fit in the locker room?
Yep.
You just worry about that. I would worry, but I got a lot of respect for Dabo, always have. But again, I knew him back when, he was a wide receiver coach coming to Chesterfield High twice a year to check up on my guys, and we were winning state championships. So it's been a long time that I've known him, a lot longer than I've known Coach Beamer or anything like that. So I do have a lot of and look, Clemson was not very good, when they made the switch. And look what he's done. He's built a powerhouse. And here they are. They've had a couple years where they've been so-so, and now they're loaded. They're loaded. I can't believe our game against them is a noon game. That's ridiculous. 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country, you're going to play them at noon. how about under the lights? I mean, come on, that's crazy to me. But
yeah, doesn't it feel a little different with this series now, and the fact that we know, and we'll see where they are in November, but coming into the season, the Gamecocks are going to be a top 15 team.
Yeah.
Clemson's going to be a top 10 team. They're not, if they lose any games up until that point, it might be one or two. I mean, obviously they open with LSU, but they're not going to lose a bunch of football games. And South Carolina's schedule is always what it is in this league. But it seems like we're on a collision course because of the expansion of the playoffs to 12 teams as it stands right now,
Right.
where maybe when that game is played in November for the first time ever in the history of the series, I know last year it was similar, but we've got a chance that this could be the most consequential game ever. Like, do you because of last year, like South Carolina won the game, they still didn't get into the playoffs, but they were knocking on the door. Clemson, of course, had to go win the ACC championship, and they get in. But if you get 2 years in a row like that in this series, what do you think it does for the rivalry on a national stage?
Well, I'm still perplexed by how isn't the rivalry bigger already? You know what I mean? You look at last year's game, what a game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unbelievable. Just as a football fan, that was an unbelievable football game, you know, and a lot of great players on the field at one time. But I think over the years, there's been some big moments and big games. And we just kind of take back seat in a big bus of rivalries. And I think it's bigger than that. Definitely this year, there could be a lot on the line, you know. Now, last year, there was a lot on the line on that game, you know, because going into it, you know, if we win and a couple teams lose, we are getting in that 12 if we win. We were the hottest team in college football. You know, but what bothers me about last year is you go in, you win that game, you're the hottest team, you go to a bowl game, and 5 guys don't play.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be high draft picks, and none of them your highest draft pick plays, kid from Irmo, and we don't win, you know? And it just, to me, man, that vibe that we had going, that bowl game just kind of, to me, it hurt a little bit from the unbelievable season we had, which, you know, you go back to 94 season for us, that game meant a lot for us because it got us in a bowl game and it gave us the opportunity to win the first ever. So, I mean, that game was giant for us. It wasn't necessarily big for both teams, but just throughout the years, how big that game has been. And we just don't get the national attention that I think that game should. As by a noon game with 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country, preseason, of course, and we're just thrown in at 12. I mean, you could have put it at 6. You know, we don't need the 8 o'clock slot, but I mean, at noon, boy, it's almost like a slap in the face. Really, is how I look at, you know, the national coverage. But, you know, you go back to last year and you ask the people from game day about their experience in Columbia, and they rave about the game day experience last year we had in Columbia against LSU. You know, what we can do here as a fan base and what we are doing. And same with Clemson. I mean, Clemson travel wells. I mean, they'll have a big group down here, and that game will be it'll be unbelievable. I mean, Clemson will probably, I think, I don't know, LSU's loaded, and that ought to be interesting. But after that, who's Clemson play?
Yeah.
You know, after that for us, we still have the gauntlet. You know, we still have I mean, a tough schedule. And now look at Vandy.
Right.
You know, that was a guaranteed win every year. I mean, guaranteed win every year since I played. And now it ain't so. So, I mean, our schedule is just it's just crazy. But that's the difference you get in that. Clemson needs about 50, 60 guys, 50 probably to get through the season. We need probably 70 in case of injuries. So our top to bottom roster has to be better. You know, they might be better through the first 40, but how many of those first 40 are playing at the end of our season?
Yep.
Compared to their season. It's not the same. I promise you, it's not the same.
That's a great point, actually, Steve. Oh, you mentioned Pavia. And you mentioned Vanderbilt. Let me ask you about that. As a quarterback yourself, who had some flair, you know, everybody knew who Steve Taneyhill was. Not just because of the mullet, but because you played, you won big games. Kind of, if you will, almost kind of a free spirit out there. You've heard all the names over the years of people, how they kind of would reference you when you played for the Gamecocks. You know, Diego Pavia the other day. Well, Vanderbilt last year had by their standards an excellent season, the best since when James Franklin was there, winning 8-9 games years ago. But you know, he decided in that Bussin' with the Boys interview to kind of kick the dust up a little bit, and he mentioned obviously he's got Week 3 circled, which, as we know, is in Columbia under the lights of Williams-Brice Stadium. He mentioned beating out, you know, we're going to take down Alabama and we're going to own the state of Tennessee. They have road trips to all three of those teams, and they did beat the Tide last year. They got beat by Tennessee by 13 at home, and South Carolina gave them their worst loss of the season, and they haven't lost to the game, and they haven't beaten the Gamecocks since 2008. If you could have a conversation with Diego Pavia based on your own experience, kind of being a free spirit type quarterback who had a lot of confidence like he's got, what would it be?
I love it. I mean, how else to approach it? You know, I mean, if you're the quarterback and you don't have that positive vibe about you, that you trust in yourself and the rest of your teammates, I mean, what do you got? I mean, I love it. Now, I don't know that Vandy, when they go into a place, brings out the best of that home team's crowd.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, yep. I know where you're going with this.
For us, it's a little different. As you put a night game on our schedule at home, we're packing Williams-Brice. But is it the same as Alabama coming here? I think there's a different vibe, which he probably understands that, and now he's feeling like he can win. But now Williams-Brice at night is a tough task for him coming on the road. And opposing players will tell you that. You know, if you look it up and you get some of those, especially those quarterbacks that understand the volume of trying to run your offense, they'll tell you, you know, Williams-Brice is a sleepy place that no one really talks about how loud it gets. So, but I love it. I love a kid come out there and be confident, and he's coming off a great year when Vanderbilt did things that, you know, no one expected him to do. And you take us, for example, when I played in 92, when I got in, we had a great year, and we came out of that season, you know, into 93 like we could beat anybody. And we go to Georgia and we do it. You know, we beat Georgia at the buzzer, and our season just went downhill after that. But we did win a giant game for the program. If you look back at that, you know, how many other teams stroll into ranked Georgia with back in the day, one of the greatest college quarterbacks. I mean, Eric Zaire was, a 3-4 year starter, unbelievable player, great player in the SEC. But we did it. But don't think that in that locker room from November till that game, we had our chests out and I had my mouth running. You know what I mean? We felt like we were going to beat everybody. And we didn't, but we did win that game. So I love the kid. Come out and be positive about your team. If you're a little bit cocky, well, back it up.
Yeah.
And I'd say 93, I didn't really back much up on a personal level, but I sure did learn a lot from it and played my ass off in 94 and 95. But sometimes it takes that little bit of losing and not being the greatest to push you a little bit harder in off season. But again, Vanderbilt's, they got some confidence in that locker room, and you got to be careful with those teams.
Oh, that's exactly right. And South Carolina, as you just pointed out during your time and others, has been there. They've been that Vanderbilt team. I think it adds. I mentioned this yesterday. I'm not so sure that I would go, calling out specific teams and adding to, I don't know that I want to necessarily put the bullseye on the backs of me and my guys. But to your point just a moment ago, every other time that I can remember, just speaking strictly on South Carolina, every other time that I can remember in the last since 1992, since Vanderbilt has come in here, you look at the schedule and you look who's coming, which 4 SEC teams are going to be in your house that year. And every other year when Vanderbilt comes in, if you're going to rank them, you rank the Vanderbilt South Carolina game as 4th on that list. Oh, yeah, we got Vandy this year. That's not going to be the case now. Like, there's very much going to be 80,000 people on Saturday night in Williams-Brice Stadium they're going to probably be on as much on top of him as they will any player other than Clemson, most likely, that walks into the ballpark this year. And the way that you're saying it, the way that I'm hearing it, that's what he needs. Like, he wants that. He'll thrive in that environment. That won't terrify him or scare him at all. He wants to play there. And maybe that's part of his reasoning for doing saying what he said.
Well, I didn't come 10 hours south to play in front of 20,000.
Right.
He's used to playing in front of 20,000. Maybe what's the most he's played in front of? On the road, they're not filling the stadiums for Vandy.
No.
And our season in 92, at my first start, I think it was 30 or 40,000 in Williams-Brice. That's it. That's nothing. You can hear whatever you want with 30 or 40,000. You go to the Swamp there 4 weeks later, and it's 85,000, and you can't hear anything. So, like I said, he definitely put a target on his back and his team's back, but good for him. I love it. Obviously, I don't want him to beat us, but hell, go beat Alabama. Go beat Tennessee. Just don't fool one out of the. Yeah, don't do it to us. But Vanderbilt's come here and had us on the ropes.
Yeah,
I can remember when we had the assistant coach play that year, or didn't he win us a game at the very end that our GA or whatever played in that game and came back in the fourth quarter? Wasn't that him?
Yep. Zeb Nolan, 2021.
Yeah, but yeah, I love it. And college football, man, is just so unbelievable. And once the season starts, you kind of get this NIL out of there. Who's on your team is who's on your team. You can worry about the rest of that the following year, and let's play ball, and it'll be here before you know it. June's about over. You're looking at around August 1, cranking it back up. I mean, I think high school football starts in our state. I don't know. My son's going to be in 8th grade, but he's the ball boy for MVP up here. And I think their first game is like the 20th, August 20th, something like that, 21st. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's here. And usually the storylines play out as we get there. But yeah, I'm a fan of the quarterbacks that believe in themselves, for sure. I think that's the only way to go. How do you get there? How do you get to be a starter in the SEC or any college football if you don't believe in yourself?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Baker Mayfield.
Right.
He transferred to Oklahoma. I mean, he's a walk-on transfer and ends up number 1 pick, down, been thrown to the wolves, and now he's the leader of the Tampa Bay Bucks. You don't think he believes in himself? I mean, if you don't, there's no place for you to play. And I mean, there's not. Quarterbacks are so different. Only one can play. If you're a linebacker, you probably play 6 linebackers in every game, 3 starters. I mean, if you're one of the best, then you play, outside. I mean, wide out. You play 6, 8 every week. Quarterbacks play 1. So to be a starter and quarterback in college football, you got to believe in your abilities. No question.
All right, final one, and then we'll get you out of here. We got to run here in just a second too. Again, 4 o'clock Saturday, CB18 Bar and Grill in 5 Points for everybody that wants to go see some players, eat some wings, and meet some coaches and listen to the band. There'll be a DJ that night. There'll be a lot of food. It's going to be a blast. I won't be there, but Steve will be. JC will be there. I mean, you'll recognize a lot of people that you see a lot. We'll finish with Lenora Sellers. So kind of a 2-part question here, and then we'll get you out of here. At what point in time last year did you feel like the light came on, kind of amplifying the confidence that he plays with in his game, and kind of going back to when, you were returning to South Carolina? Okay, Steve Taneyhill is the starting quarterback here of the Gamecocks. We know what to expect out of this guy. This kid can play. Now that's on his shoulders. Now he's got a whole offseason of Heisman conversations and draft picks and the whole 9 yards. What's your advice to Lenora Sellers?
Well, I think last year I look at quarterbacks a little different than the everyday fan. So I kind of watch everything they do. I believed in Lenore's, and I'm not taking credit for this, from day snap 1. And here's the fact that maybe not too many people know. We had an opportunity to get Cam Ward at the University of South Carolina for $1.5 million. It was on the table. Beamer said no. That says a lot about Lenore Sellers.
Yeah.
A guy that was still a youngster. And we turned down a guy that won the Heisman, or could have won the Heisman if it weren't for, one of the best football players we've ever seen, 2-way player, and a number 1 pick. So to me, when Beamer does that, as much as I knew Lenore, I knew about his story, and I knew he was coming along. From day 1 last year, I looked at him different because of that. But about game 3 or game 4, you could see that the guy's different. He's different. And he's different than anybody we've ever had. He's got a little bit of Connor Shaw in him, with his natural escapability. He's got a big arm. Again, we don't do much with the receivers, so it's kind of hard. But I'd say, the LSU game really sold me on him. I mean, when you can take it up the middle and no one even comes close, when he broke that run, like there's no one in the frame. And I thought he played good, not great, but I think that was probably the game that I said, man, this kid he's got it. And what was your second part to the question? Advice?
Yeah, being the man now. You're the man. So what would you tell him?
If you I don't know, I'm not around Columbia probably as much as I should be or could be. But the guys seem to gravitate towards him. In this day and age, everybody has a kind of a quarterback coach. So they go off and you really, really work. So those days of where you don't push yourself are gone. I think he's worked hard from what I hear. And you just got to stay humble. The only thing I worry about, and I'm going to ask him on Saturday when I see him, I hope we don't get the guy that played in the bowl game that won't run, because that's part of his aura. I really think in that bowl game he was trying too hard to throw when half of his greatness is running, is breaking those tackles. And boy, if he can get better in that pocket, he's unfortunately he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
But in saying that, if he has the type of year that gets him high in the draft, I think our football team has the kind of year that we all want. So I think he just needs to be himself. He seems so reserved, the times that I've talked to him and been around him. He's not. I can imagine how I was, and he's nothing like that. He's just so kind of quiet. He plays obviously different than quiet. He's kind of like, wow, he's a definite wow guy. So I just want him to be himself, but to use his strengths as his strengths, and I think our wideouts are going to get better. I think the big tall guy kind of focusing on football will help. And give us he made some good catches last year. So I'm looking forward to it. He don't need to put too much pressure on himself. He just needs to go play and have fun. And this kid's been a heck of a football player since he was a sophomore in high school. I mean, if you really go watch, South Florence. I coached a long time or 7 or 8 years in Chesterfield, and I don't ever remember South Florence. It's not that far. I never remember seeing them in a 7-on-7 or anything where I thought South Florence was good enough to beat my guys at 1A Chesterfield. So to take them to the state and win it, his ability's there. He just needs to continue that upward climb of getting better and better. And if he really wants to be a great quarterback in the NFL, and he really wants to be a high pick, he's worked his ass off. And I think he probably has and will, and he's got a month here and come in healthy and stay healthy. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see probably our best quarterback in a while play football for a university. And he's an in-state talent. And we weren't the first on the bandwagon. Syracuse was first, but we weren't too far behind. And we got him, and thank goodness.
I think this is the most anticipated South Carolina athlete that folks have been waiting to see again. Maybe ever. We'll find out.
Yeah.
I know only just a couple of years ago when Rattler got here, everybody couldn't wait to see him too. So, but this feels just a little different from that. Well, Steve, man, it's great to see you. And I know a lot of folks are going to get a chance to see you right around 4:00 on Saturday at CB18 Bar and Grill in 5 Points. Thanks for doing this again this year. And and the trick is, unlike how we screwed it up the first year we did it at home team in 2023, they brought the wings out too hot. So obviously y'all solved that problem last year.
I didn't make it last year. I was in a golf tournament here in Spartanburg, and I didn't make it. And my buddy Jeff Cox by 90 stayed on me, so I haven't played golf. So I don't know what they figured out, but it's going to be a fun day, and I hope people come out and enjoy themselves and meet some of the guys. And I think we're doing something for the softball team as well, which is awesome. And just trying to give back to the university. So hope to see everybody Saturday. Always, anytime I can be on, just give me a holler.
You know we will, man. Thanks, Steve.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Stay healthy. There you go, Steve Taneyhill. All right, that's it. We gave you a little extra today. No JC and Phil. We'll be back tomorrow at 10. Mike Morgan will be here. We got a lot of fun planned on Friday. Thanks to Coach Holbrook, Steve Taneyhill, and all of you. Built by the Barn Co. and brought to you by Resto Pros. Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show. See you tomorrow.